All right, hello everyone, and welcome to this AWS Data Insights Day session. I am Chris Short from the AWS team. I work on Amazon EKS. I'm joined today by our friend Reed from Stripe. Reed, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, please?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Reed. I'm an engineer here at Stripe. I work on the data pipeline team. I work on our data pipeline Redshift connector, and some of the Amazon technologies I use day to day are Redshift data sharing, AWS Glue, AWS Lake Formation. I'm also a AWS certified solutions architect, and I've been building on AWS since around 2015.
That's awesome. Sounds like our AWS journeys have started around the same time. Um, so it's very great to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
I know what Stripe is, you know what Stripe is, but the audience might not fully get what Stripe is or does.
hmm
You want to dive into what is Stripe for a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Once again, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So what is Stripe? Well, Stripe is most well known for being a global payments processor. We accept and process online payments for millions of users worldwide, and that's really what we've been known for the past decade and more. But we're not just a payments company anymore. So we actually recently announced our new and improved revenue and financial automations platform. It provides these flexible tools that can help AWS customers automate critical business processes that are adjacent to payments. So an example of some of these tools include things like billing and invoicing for subscription and invoice management, tax for sales tax automation, revenue recognition for accrual accounting automation, Sigma for custom reports, and data pipeline for data warehouse syncing, which is what I think we're going to focus on today.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, as a previous and future Stripe customer, I really do appreciate all the work you're doing from a small business owner's perspective. It has made life a lot easier over the years, having run many small businesses. So,
Yeah, that's great.
with this particular solution, what problems have you seen in the market with
Mhm.
existing tooling, and where does this kind of help with that?
Yeah, it's a good question. We've done a lot of research on this. It's a hard problem to solve, right? Getting data into your data warehouse securely and
Hmm.
easily. So we know that many customers of Stripe and AWS really want access to their Stripe data in their Redshift warehouse for finance and analytics use cases. But like I said, getting it there can be challenging. We know that setting up custom ETL processes can be really time consuming and error prone. The integrity of your data is super important, and building something like that yourself requires a ton of testing and just engineering resources put into it. And we also know that third-party tools, the cost structure can sometimes be inconsistent, or it can be confusing. And
Hmm.
one other thing that we know, which I think this is really important, is that both with using a custom tool, but also third-party tools, there's security to think about. And the last thing you would want is to open your organization up to some kind of security risk for having that Stripe data handled by another party. So all of this to say, we've really seen that customers are looking for a simple and a cost-effective solution for quick access to Stripe data. Um, and that's why we created Stripe Data Pipeline. In contrast to all of those caveats, Stripe Data Pipeline is the easiest solution for anybody looking to connect their Stripe account to their Amazon Redshift data warehouse. And we really think that with this solution, Stripe and AWS can help you do more with your data.
So, Reed, how does the Stripe data pipeline work?
Yeah, great question. So how does Stripe Data Pipeline work? Well, first of all, let's just talk about compatibility and what's included. So we support all different types of Redshift warehouses. So this is RA3 node types, DS2, DC2, any type of compute is available. And we also support Redshift serverless as a target. I know a lot of customers are using that. It's really popular, and it's available. So just quickly to talk about some of the data that you're receiving, this schema is very similar to what you're able to find in the Stripe API. So just as some examples, transaction data, customer information, payment methods, refunds, metadata, like I said, anything really that's available in the Stripe API. So let me talk a little bit about the setup process, and then I can talk more about how things are working under the hood. So you configure Stripe Data Pipeline in the Stripe dashboard. You provide your Amazon account ID and your desired cloud region, and then with a few clicks, you're already onboarding. Within 12 hours, Stripe is going to perform an initial data load, and you'll receive a Redshift data share request from us, which once you accept, instantly connects your warehouse to all of your Stripe data. So just going under the hood now, how do we make this happen, right? So we're using a really cool feature from Redshift called Managed Data Sharing that's creating a secure view that's accessible to your Redshift cluster in any AWS region. So this feature allows us to take advantage of one of the unique capabilities of Redshift's RA3 node type, which is that storage and compute are decoupled. And as a result of this data sharing, consumers are not billed for storage costs because your Stripe data is being streamed to your cluster on demand. What this also means is that there's no need to manage extra database credentials, and there's no large ETL that's performed on your cluster. Talking about security, I know managing external access to your data warehouse is a really tough thing for security teams to do. And so we avoid that entirely using this solution. But I've really only been talking about RA3 node types so far. And like I said, we support all Redshift node types. So if you're using DS2 or DC2 node types where this managed data sharing feature isn't currently available, we have you covered. So we built another solution that gives you the same great user experience, this time using AWS Lake Formation to grant you access to AWS Glue tables that you can query using Redshift Spectrum. So even though this is using different Amazon technologies, it's providing the same really great customer experience of having instant access to all of your Stripe data.
That is a very good user experience example, I feel like, right? Like, okay, we get it. Your Redshift cluster is a certain way, so we have this other way of making this thing happen for you, almost as simply, which is outstanding. The one question I have, you have this data pipeline graph here, and you mentioned about 12 hours. Is that like all your data historically going in 12 hours, everything? Or is it just streaming in as it comes in kind of thing?
Yeah. We load your data from the beginning of time
Nice.
within those first 12 hours. And then, you're getting updates much faster than that in sort of an incremental manner. So all of your most recent data is loaded on a much faster cadence than that.
What are some of the challenges that data pipeline can help solve for Redshift users?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think I'm going to answer it with a scenario, if you will. So let's consider a hypothetical company that has complex data needs. So they have a fraud team which wants to use internal fraud metrics in conjunction with Stripe Radar data, Stripe Radar being our fraud solution. So they also have a finance team that wants to close their books quickly and accurately at the end of each month. And then, of course, they have an engineering team that wants to satisfy these data needs with minimal cost and effort. So in this hypothetical company, the engineering team picks data pipeline, and they're able to set it up in minutes. They can start receiving data the same day that they're subscribed. And this is in contrast to an in-house ETL solution that they had tried building, which was taking them months to bring fully online and had a lot of issues with data integrity. So now Stripe data is in their data warehouse. This happens the same day. And their fraud team has easy access to Stripe Radar risk scores in the exact same place as their own internal fraud metrics. So they're able to combine these data sets to help detect and prevent fraud faster and with more accuracy than ever before. And as for their finance team, they're receiving complete and accurate transaction data from Stripe, and they can query that alongside any other revenue and expense data that's already in Redshift. And this really helps them speed up their month-end accounting and more easily understand their company's overall financial health at any point in time. So, this is just an example, but I'm sure you can see how this could be extrapolated to all sorts of different use cases, and really the sky's the limit when it comes to combining Stripe data with any other proprietary information that a company may have.
That's amazing. And I'm sure our customers appreciate the user experience thoughtfulness across the different types of Redshift instances. That's very helpful. Thanks for joining us today. If you're a Stripe and Redshift user, you can start sending all your data to Redshift automatically by signing up for Stripe Data Pipeline today on the AWS Marketplace. You can also learn more about Stripe Data Pipeline if you scan this QR code or click the link in the session description. We're sending the first 100 folks to sign up for additional information, free Stripe t-shirts. So if you're watching live, head over there now.